On Osrc News at 7, Nigeria moves to harness vast bitumen resources as Senate passes bill to establish Development Commission. Opposition coalition adopts ADC for 2027 as party faces internal rebellion. Ondo State government cracks down on waterway pollution amid flood control efforts. And from the foreign scene, humanitarian aid disrupted as USAID officially shuts down after over 60 years of foreign service.
Hello and welcome to the News at 7, coming to you live from Osrc Television. I am Obi Chukwemeka Oti. We begin tonight with the legislative arm of government. The Ondo State House of Assembly has confirmed the appointment of 15 of 16 commissioner nominees forwarded to it by Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. The confirmation followed a screening exercise by the House of Assembly correspondent Omoshilola Adesoye Ajayi now reports.
The confirmation of the 15 commissioner nominees marks a crucial step in strengthening the machinery of governance in Ondo State. Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa had in June this year submitted names of commissioner nominees for confirmation with a call to the Assembly to expedite action on the request. And following the screening of the 16 nominees and subsequent submission of reports by the Committee of the Whole, the move for the adoption of the report and subsequent confirmation of all nominees was raised by the Majority Leader, Olatunji Oshati, and seconded by a lawmaker representing Akoko Northwest, Afe Felix.
I have a motion that all the commissioner nominees should appear and the confirmation of appointment be done today as state commissioner nominees and will be regarded as commissioner nominees after the confirmation.
I rise this day to second the motion ably moved by the Majority Leader that for the appearance of the commissioner nominee for confirmation of appointment of commissioner nominee as commissioner designate.
The Speaker of the House, Olamide Oladiji, commended the diligence of the screening committee and described the process as transparent and in line with the legislative standards. According to him, the ratified nominees were found competent and capable of contributing meaningfully to the developmental goals of Aiyedatiwa administration.
Let me use this medium to appreciate His Excellency Dr. Lucky Aiyedatiwa and his amiable deputy, His Excellency Dr. Olaide Adelani, for taking their time to appoint these high-profile sons and daughters of this sunshine state for this exalted position in order to complement our peace agenda while congratulating the Honorable Commissioner Designate. Let me add this, that the House of Assembly will not take oversight of ministry and MPAs for granted.
The Speaker also clarified that one of the nominees, Ayorinde Olawoye, could not be confirmed due to his absence, having taken permission to be away on a state assignment. Responding on behalf of other designates, a former lawmaker, Sunday Olajide, pledged their readiness to work hand in glove with the governor for the development of Ondo State and its people.
Thank you. I want to appreciate you, and I want to assure you on behalf of our colleagues, Mr. Speaker, that we are going to have a robust working relationship. We are ready to work with you and ready to work with other acts of government.
The confirmed commissioner designates are Adewale Akinlosotu, Amidu Takuro, Banji Ajaka, Johnson Alabi, Segun Omoyofumi, Idowu Ajanaku, Tob Loko, and Seun Osamaye. Others are Professor Igbekele Ajibefun, Olaolu Akindolire, Sunday Olajide, Ayodele Akonde, Bola Ademuwagun, Adesoji Afolabi, and Akinola Olaleye. Omoshiliola Adesoye Ajayi, Osrc News.
In the meantime, the Senate has passed a bill seeking the establishment of a Bitumen Development Commission to advance harnessing of the country's vast bitumen resources. The bill, sponsored by the senator representing Ondo South Senatorial District, Jimoh Ibrahim, received third reading approval following the adoption of a report presented by the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals Development. Presenting the report, Senator representing Plateau Central Senatorial District, Dike Plank, noted that the Commission's creation is essential for the effective regulation, exploration, and development of Nigeria's estimated 42 billion tons of bitumen deposits, reportedly the second largest in the world. The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said the passage of the Bitumen Development Commission will play a critical role in the regulation and promotion of bitumen exploration and production, creating jobs and stimulating economic growth. To education now. In a bid to enhance student engagement, streamline curriculum development, and boost academic performance, Ondo State Government has flagged off the distribution of U-lesson tablets to school children. Ondo State Coordinator of the Renewed Hope Initiative of the wife of Nigerian President Oluremi Tinubu and Commissioner-designate Dr. Seun Osamaye were handing over the gadgets to students in Igbokoda, Ilaje local government area of the state, said the initiative is part of the Renewed Hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu and aligns with Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa's his agenda. Omorola Ubenji has details.
The distribution of dual lesson tablets aligns with the federal government's focus on digital learning under the Renewed Hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. It also reflects Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa's his agenda, which aims to ensure that no sector is left behind in the delivery of democratic dividends. Present at Ilaje High School, Igbokoda, to take delivery of their tablets were representatives of schools from across the 6 local government areas that make up the Southern Senatorial Districts. Commissioner-designate Dr. Seun Osamaye reaffirmed the government's commitment to improving educational opportunities and learning outcomes through digital resources.
It is on record that we have never had it this good in the history of Ondo State, benefiting from opportunities from the national before now. It is on record and visible and audible, even to the deaf, that now Ondo State has been benefiting a lot from the Renewed Hope initiative of our First Lady.
While congratulating the beneficiaries, Osamaye urged them to make judicious use of the gadgets and make the state proud.
These tablets include practice tests, mock exams, weekly learning programs, and several other usages, which include offline learning, personalized learning, progress tracking, parental control at your convenience and accessibility. This digital device is not just a technological tool, but also a symbol of hope, of equity, and legacy, strengthening digital education framework.
Principal of Ilaje High School, Igbokoda, Austin Iwaluwa, commended the initiative, noting that it would significantly accelerate learning standards.
It's going to assist students in their learning very well because the world is changing. The ICT, the digital learning is taking place instead of other type of learning. So this thing that is given to students, we assist them to learn more and learn faster than they used to do. In fact, as this project is giving out, we are sure that our students will make good use of it.
We are here in collaboration with the supermarkets. Their partnership is really moving education forward. On behalf of the entire group board,
Speaker of the Ondo State Children's Parliament, Olamide Poloye, along with other beneficiaries, applauded the gesture and promised to deliver positive academic results.
Digital education will improve students' fun and learning, encourage them to read more, and ensure education is easily accessible to all children.
This is what we the students are expecting to, because we are just concluded high community project also. I think assuming we have had this before, it can help us in just a way also.
It will help us in some situations in which if we want to find some meaning of difficult words, it will help us.
The exercise would be replicated at the central and northern senatorial districts of the state. Omoriola Ngbiji, Osrc News.
In part 2, after the break, opposition coalition adopts ADC for 2027 as party faces internal rebellion. Join us again.
Hooray! Niger Delta, it's time to give thanks because the NDDC is 25 and we invite you to join us for a Thanksgiving service to commemorate this celebration. The past 25 years has been a period of great development and milestone achievements for the Commission in all 9 states of our oil-rich region, such as over 5,200 kilometers of roads constructed, over 57,000 solar street lights installed across the region, the 132/33 kV electricity substation in Okitikupa, and many more. For all of these, we have deemed it fit to say thank you to the Lord. Date: Sunday, the 6th of July 2025. Venue: St. Thomas Anglican Church, Akure, with the reception to follow immediately at the Dome International Event Center, Akure, Ondo State. The NDDC, 25 years of making a difference.
The best thing we are doing now is putting Osrc on the front burner of our needs. We have a successful inclusiveness and the loan that is necessary for our people to get educated and invest in their own life. We will build a fair society. We will launch a bold new initiative to empower 400,000 young Nigerians, including youth corpers, with consumer credit.
The dream is realizable. The way we are going, we have a road that we have outlived all of us. That is how to build the future.
Powered by Grassroots Movement for Tinubu GMT, Ondo State Chapter. GMT, in God we trust.
You're welcome back. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at Osrc TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel Osrc TV on Ondo. Now to the rest of the news, but still on education. Oyo State Commissioner for Information, Dotun Oyelade, has reaffirmed the state government's decision to rename the Polytechnic Ibadan in honor of the late former governor, Omololu Olunloyo, despite protests from students. Oyelade explained that the opposition from students stems from a lack of awareness about Olunloyo's significant contributions to the institution and the state. While acknowledging the students' concerns, the commissioner emphasized the government's respect for the student body, but insisted that the renaming will proceed. The renaming was announced on June 26, 2025 by Governor Seyi Makinde to immortalize Olunloyo, who passed away on April 6, 2025. Staying with education, the federal government has launched a $40 million initiative, the Blueprint ICT Development, Blueprint ICT Dev Project, to transform the country's tertiary education system through digital infrastructure and innovation. During the launch in Abuja, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, said the project will be implemented across 10 federal universities nationwide. The 10 universities selected to pilot the Blueprint ICT development project are the University of Calabar, University of Nigeria Nsukka, University of Ibadan, Federal University of Technology Mina, University of Maiduguri, Bayero University Kano, Modibo Adama University Yola, Obafemi Awolowo University Ife, Nnamdi Azikiwe University Awka, and the University of Jos. According to him, the project is reflected a renewed national focus on digital transformation, inclusive education, and human capital development. And the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, will meet with Chairman of FCT Area Councils, the Nigeria Union of Teachers, and the National Association of Nigeria Students to discuss the reopening of public primary schools in the FCT. NAS President Olusola Oladoja, in a statement, said the group had earlier planned a mass protest at the FCT Administration Secretariat this morning. However, the plan changed after its leaders were invited to a meeting at the Department of State Services headquarters. NAS revealed that at the meeting, the ongoing strike and its effects on students were discussed, adding that the first engagement led to another strategic session with Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on FCT, Mukhtar Batera. From education to politics, now the Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the legal tussle on Edo State governorship election petition. The Apex Court adjourned the judgment indefinitely after taking arguments for and against the election that produced Monday Okpowolo as the duly elected governor. Justice Garba Lawal, who presided over hearing of the appeal filed by Asue Ugodalo and the People's Democratic Party (PDP), said that the date for delivery of the judgment will be communicated to parties involved. Ugodalo, whose appeal was argued by Ken Mosia SAN, prayed the Supreme Court to remove Okpowolo and pronounce him as winner of the election. His ground was that he scored a majority of lawful votes in the election. However, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), represented by Kanu Agabi SAN, asked the Apex Court to dismiss the appeal in its entirety. Still on politics, the African Democratic Congress (ADC) has been adopted as the coalition party for opposition groups preparing to contest the 2027 general elections. This move aims to unify various opposition forces under a single platform to enhance their electoral prospects. Former President of the Senate, David Mark, was appointed as the interim national chairman of the ADC. Former Governor of Osun State, Rauf Aregbesola, has been named the interim national secretary of the party. Also, a former Minister of Sports, Bolaji Abdullahi, has been appointed as the spokesperson for the ADC. Meanwhile, the founding national chairman of the African Democratic Congress, Ralph Nwosu, said leaders of the party voluntarily resigned to allow former Senate President David Mark and ex-Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola to take charge and lead efforts to reposition both the party and the country. Nwosu stated this at the unveiling of the ADC as the platform for the 2027 opposition coalition ahead 2027 elections. Nwosu stated that the party approved Mark as national chairman and Aregbesola as the national secretary of the party. In the meantime, the adoption of the African Democratic Congress (ADC) as the platform for the opposition parties to contest in the 2027 general elections is facing an early crisis following the acceptance speech by former Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola, who declared himself interim national secretary of the party. The fresh crisis came as concerned stakeholders, including youths, women, leaders, state executives and ward coordinators, rejected the declaration of Aregbesola, which they called an imposition lacking due process, legitimacy and democratic credibility. National Publicity Secretary of the party, Musa Matara, said that the party was never consulted and no constitutional organ, including the National Executive Committee, ratified the appointment. Matara challenged Aregbesola on whose authority he was appointed, as the party structure's members and constitution were ignored. The statement also rejected the adoption of the party by the coalition of opposition politicians led by former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. It dismissed claims that ADC had become the platform for a so-called national opposition coalition group, calling the move deceptive and undemocratic. Away from politics, the Ondo State government has begun clearing waterways in the Okeya community located in the Joka area of Akure South local government area as part of ongoing efforts to prevent and control flooding. Residents of the community have long been affected by flooding due to blocked waterways. Joy Pius reports that the community members are expressing gratitude for the government's timely intervention.
For years, residents of Okeya community in Ijoka, Akure South local government area of Ondo State, have been faced with a major challenge of flooding, resulting in loss of lives and property. Residents report that whenever it rains, the bridge becomes submerged, obstructing both pedestrian and vehicular movement and causing flooding in the area.
There will be delaying, even people going to the office after the raining or during the raining. Are you getting my point? There's no how they can move across the river here because the flooding is too much, and which is affecting a lot of people here in this community.
Be 20 years, láti ní ìpèníjà omi ló ń jẹ́ òfòṣù, òun ló lọ sínú reserve. So láti ìgbà tí erosion ti bẹ̀ sí ń wọlé ló ti tóbi tó ti ń fún wa ní wàhálà.
However, the narrative is changing, with the Ondo State deploying an amphibious excavator to dredge the waterway.
Ilé mi báyìí mi tẹ̀ ní ṣé ayọ̀ kankan mọ́, gbogbo ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì everything gbogbo ẹ̀ ló ń wọ̀, omi yẹn pọ̀ ju ti tẹ́lẹ̀ lọ. Ṣùgbọ́n a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó ń ṣe iṣẹ́ yìí, lórúkọ Jésù Ọlọ́run á túbọ̀ máa fún wọn lókun àti agbára.
Speaking during supervision of the work, the chairman of Akure South local government, Benga Fashwa, among other stakeholders, stated that the government's objective was to ensure the state is free from flooding this year, adding that same exercise is being carried out simultaneously in flood-prone areas across the state.
It's not only here. We've been to Ayedun, we've been to Enyala, Adanjuma, Atondo Road. What we are doing is we are making sure that our waterway must be cleared. It must be free for water to flow, because anything that hinders the flow of water will cause flooding. NIMET had reported that there will be flooding in the state. What we are doing is a preventive, that we cure this thing, that it will not come again.
A lot of revelation have been on this year that this flood will be higher this year. And the governor has taken a proactive about it in order to prevent the occurrence of creating a lot of problem in the state. And the two machines have been in Akure about 2 months now. It's in Akure working. And that is why they have installed here, to work here, so that to prevent flood.
They called on residents to desist from dumping refuse in waterways, as stringent measures will be taken against defaulters.
I just felt that if there are citizens of Ondo State in this area, and with the records that some of their fish ponds has been eroded away, involving millions of naira, we just felt that it is the responsibility of government to come and do the needful for these people, so that after this effort, the people in Okeya axis of Ijoka, in Akure South local government of Ondo State, can sleep with their 2 eyes closed without fear of a flood crisis.
The government of Ondo State, under the leadership of Governor Lokirim Sadi Ayratwa, have decided to tackle this menace of flooding head-on by ensuring that we desist our canals and our waterways.
The consultant to the state government on clearing waterways, Mr. Elisha Ebijimi expressed commitment towards ensuring completion of the project in record time.
Of clearing of waterway, we have flood started last year, and immediately I come on board and now address the state government that let us widen the channel and let us preach a gospel to our people. Stop it dumping refuse inside the channel so the waterway can be clear.
The exercise aimed to remove aquatic vegetation, debris, and other obstacles to prevent flooding. Joy Pius, Osrc News.
In a renewed push to meet its OPEC production quota and 2025 budgetary targets, the federal government has threatened to withdraw the license of firms with dormant oil fields. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Senator Heineken Okobere, issued the warning at the ongoing 2025 Nigeria Oil and Gas Energy Week in Abuja, stressing that the government will no longer tolerate operators lacking the technical and financial capacity to develop oil fields. He said the government was determined to maximize oil production by ensuring that only serious investors retain access to Nigeria's hydrocarbon resources. Okobere said the government has engaged an international consultant to evaluate the 273 fees and rates faced by oil companies in the country to align them with international best practices. Moving on to the foreign scene, the U.S. Agency for International Development has officially ceased to exist more than 60 years after it was founded. Its remaining functions have been transferred to the State Department. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says foreign assistance will now be limited and targeted. President Donald Trump began dismantling the agency soon after taking office in January as part of his plan to reduce government spending. Thousands of staff were fired and humanitarian aid to some of the world's most vulnerable populations was withdrawn. Jim Carlin is the former chief economist at USAID, and he says misunderstandings have
There's
made the
also
organization for cost cutters.
There's also I think a disconnect between what USAID was really doing and a lot of the rhetoric around what it was doing that made it vulnerable. And vulnerable in the sense that you don't actually, a lot of the benefits that accrued from what USAID was doing are not felt by everyday people, Americans. And so when people are asked in the United States, what do you think of foreign aid? People assumed it was much bigger than it really was. People thought that we were spending 25% of our budget on foreign aid, and that's just not true. It was actually it was a fraction of a percent that was spent on foreign aid. When people hear about the specifics of what USAID was doing, then they tended to support them, saving lives, literally. Today there was an article in Lancet that documented over the past 30 or so years, 91 million deaths prevented by USAID work. And yet that's not in the common discourse. And so it was vulnerable to DOGE coming in, world natural disasters, long-term development challenges and poverty, as well as short run. And USAID was representing those people to try. That's not the real issue. I think the real issue is that the expertise of the people who are within USAID were helping to make sure that aid was actually.
Now talking sports, the Executive Committee of Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, has approved the extension of the tenure of the present boards of the Nigeria Premier Football League, NPFL, Nigeria National League, NNL, and the Nigeria Nationwide League One, NLO, till the end of the tenure of the present NFF administration, headed by Ibrahim Gusso, MON. The tenure of the present NFF board will come to an end on 29th of September 2026. By this decision, NPFL board headed by Benga Elegbeleye, George Aluo, NNL, and Silas Gara, NLO, will now continue in office until 29 September 2026. The NFF Executive Committee commended the works of each of the three boards in the past 2 years and charged them to commit more efforts to deliver better packaged and more attractive leagues that football managers and stakeholders in the country and the continent at large will be proud of, while resolving to progressively introspect and innovate for the good of the game. However, the NFF Executive Committee has deferred the decision on the board of the Nigeria Women Football League, headed by Nkechi Obi, to a later date. The lifespan of the boards of the leagues put in place on July 1, 2023 on a 2-year mandate came to an end on Monday, 30th June 2025. And that's the news at 7, but before we go, let's take another look at the major stories. We told you that the Senate has passed a bill to establish Bitumen Development Commission to regulate, explore, and develop the country's 42 billion tons of bitumen deposits in a bid to create jobs and stimulate economic growth. And that's the size of the news at 7. Thank you very much for being a part of it. Good evening.